Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to my first ever webinar. I want to introduce myself. I'm Emilu Padillo Malabanan Almeda. You can call me EMS for short. I'm excited because I have invited four guest speakers for my webinar. Are you stressed? Who are not stressed? Are you stressed from work, from home, from friends, social media, or friends? Let me hear from them. Let hear their stories and how they handle or manage stress. But before I introduce my first guest speaker, you can comment down below. I have prepared exciting prizes to all of you. Just comment down below, how do you manage your own stress? A unique answer will have an exciting prizes. I will choose 10 lucky winners because it's my first webinar. I'm going to give away this 10 exciting prizes. Okay? So, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my first guest speaker. Okay? We'll just wait for Pasek to come in, but of course, I would introduce to you my first guest speaker. Active SG is an all encompassing and inclusive national movement for sports brought to you by Sport Singapore. Okay, let me introduce to you Chief of Active Singapore, Sir Hok Lin Singh. Welcome, sir, to my first ever webinar.
Hi, Ems. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me. Sir, I just want to ask, is there any particular event in your life that you can remember that you are very stressed, that you cannot forget it?
Today is Friday. Let's let's have a less stressful time. I'll share more of my personal stories, right? And my most stressful moment is when I'm having my COVID, right? Isolated at home, and not so much of the COVID, but actually staying at home, facing the nagging from my wife. 7 days, and I think that's the most stressful. I hope my wife is not listening to this live podcast. All right, otherwise I'll be sleeping in the corridor. Yeah. So jokes aside, right? I think um, to overcome stress first is let's sometimes not to take ourselves too seriously, and then to have a sense of humor, and to have a more positive attitude towards life. And so I think at the personal level, that's how I feel. Yeah.
So, Chief, you manage it by being positive, and sense of humor is still there, even though you tested positive for seven
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. So, the irony is that then another most stressful moment was then when we were taking care of our migrant workers in 2020, during the circuit breaker. Active actually was activated to convert our sports center to be a dormitory. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. And in fact, we converted four sports centers to dormitory ops. And to house our dormitory workers during the circuit breaker. And actually, at that point of time, I just took over the chief active SG. So you know how exciting, right? Taking over a new job, and then before you can do your sports operation and promote national movement for sports, we have to take care of the migrant worker. But like I say, every crisis there is an opportunity, and definitely there's a lot of uncertainty. The situation is very volatile, and then there's two fear, right? First fear is actually about COVID itself, and the second fear is about uh, uh, fear itself, and how do we cope with that, and at the same time learn. So if I use that as a as an experience, really first thing is that clarity of thoughts, to have the clarity of thinking. Whatever situation we face is really what is the meaning and purpose of that situation. All right. So we frame that taking care of the migrant workers, not just to give them a shelter, but we want to show how we care for our migrant workers in our Singaporean way. That's why we call it operational sayang. And sayang in Malay means care, show love. And we anchor on this, and the other C is about having the compassion for our migrant workers. And when your heart is in the right place, the system will be in place. All right. And the third one is another C, is called confidence. Understand very clearly what you can control and what you cannot control. All right, we know what we can control is our protection system, our mask, our PPE, our training, and what we cannot control is it's definitely COVID. All right, but we can control our protection system, our hygiene, safe distancing, and then those that we cannot control, we continue to learn about it, and then to see how we can even further strengthen our protection system. And at that point of time, very little is known about COVID. And this anchor on these 3C, that's how we cope together as one Active Veggie in a stressful environment. So clarity of thoughts, compassion, and then confidence. Yes.
Wow, very well said, Chief. I watched the video about the migrant workers, who is in charge is the Queenstown, right? In Queenstown, is it? So I watch it, and it's very heartwarming. I've cried that video when I watch it. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And one more question to you, Chief. Is there any program in Active SG right now that you would suggest that can reduce stress to the community?
Okay. So first, before I go to the program, is that I think as an individual, we should manage our energy, not just time. So time is important, but frankly, the important thing that we can gain control is our energy. And when I say energy, it means in different dimension. It can be physical energy, it can be emotional energy, it can be psychological energy, and also spiritual energy. So in Active Veggie, it's a place that actually definitely is about physical sports, but it's more than that. When you come together to play sports, actually you also build emotional energy because through the socialization. And after that, actually you feel a psychological boost because of all the good chemicals that go into our brain, and later our friends from the IMH will share with you, right? All the endorphin and adrenaline charge up. Actually, you have that psychological boost, and with that, sometimes even with our own faith, our own, you can also gain spiritual energy, and all this energy are important. So, like in physics, like energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another form. So as an individual, we can manage our energy, and then of course you want to eat well and sleep well. So in Active Veggie, there are a wide range of sports, exercise, and even interest group, from sports type like volleyball, football, to Zumba dance, and to interest group like urban farming, hiking, and we even rear fish. And the whole idea is to bring people together so you find the sense of connection and belonging. And that is very, very important. And it helps us to cope, especially when times are not within our control. And sometimes it can cause undue stress. A little bit of stress actually is good for us. But sometimes when the stress is too much, then I think we need to find other avenues to counter this stress, so that we can still go on with our life and cope with the stress in a very positive manner, and always have that self efficacy that actually we can overcome. We are more than that. And yeah, so these are some of my quick thoughts and sharing with you some of the program that we have done in Active SG, and I welcome friends and here and also your families to join us in the programs and can visit our sports center. And the other one, very, very important, I would say that join our Team Nila volunteer. Because so AMS is a volunteer also in our Team Nila, because volunteerism is about serving others. And when you serve others, actually, you are the one that gain the most, and it gives strength while you're serving others. So please come and join AMS and join Ethan to do all this serving others through sports volunteerism. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chief, for sharing all the activities. And it's true, there's a lot of programs of Active SG to bring back the sport, to bring sports back. And yes, and one more thing, there is one more question to you, Chief. One particular self-care tips, self-care that you can share. Self-care tip.
Put on earplugs when my wife nagging me. Oh, I hope my wife is not here. Or run away from home. No, just joking. So usually what I do is that really I don't take yourself too seriously at times. And all of us are human beings, so we do make mistakes, and we do have our own little failures here and there, and it's okay, pick up ourselves, because every failure is a learning, and then every moment is a great a learning tool. All right. That's a good one. Just worry we don't have a bed to sleep on. And as long as you can sleep anywhere, then I think it's fine. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's how you cope with stress, right? And sometimes before you sleep, it's good to chill out and enjoy your little whatever comfort drinks or a little wine or beer to chill out. I know life is more than just work, learning and all this. So we just need to give yourself some space to recollect the day. And always, I think one thing that I find very useful is to have a sense of gratitude. And thankfulness. I think that helps a lot, and I'm very thankful to be here, and thankful to share my little humble thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you so much for joining me. Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Enjoy your session.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chief Hawk Ling Sing. Thank you so much. Yes. Are you excited with our second speaker? Supposed to be the first speaker, but he's so busy. But nevertheless, he still say yes, and he's here. Of course, who is the most supportive of Team Nila? The Parliament Secretary in the Ministry of Social and Family Development, as well as the Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth. Let's welcome the TikTok king of Parliament, Palsec, Mr. Eric Chua. Thank you, sir.
Hi, Ems. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet all of you. Good afternoon to everyone. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for joining us. And I have a few questions that I'd like to hear from you.
Right.
So, when do you know that you are stressed? When do you know that you are stressed?
When do I know I'm stressed? Right. That's a good question. Because for me, every day, just fly past. Sometimes it fly past in a whiff. You don't even know that, the day has been just 14 hours long, 16 hours long. But I think it's a great question because it's important that we have self-awareness, right? How do you know you are stressed? I think each of us feel stressed and know that we are stressed through different means, right? So I know that I feel stressed when I know that I need to go for a run, right?
Interesting.
Because when I go for a run, after that I feel good, I get my endorphins load, and I sort of feel balanced again. I know that I feel stress when I know that I need to do deep breathing. So running, deep breathing, these are two techniques that I use to sort of just center myself. If I'm a little off center, I'm a little off the tracks, right? Just to make sure that I don't go too much to derail in the course of my day. Those are just small tweaks or small, additions I can put in my schedule. In fact, it doesn't have to be even something that you plan in a schedule. So, for instance, deep breathing, right? You know how sometimes actually driving in Singapore roads can be quite stressful,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We are all somehow, all of us are in a rush to get from point A to point B. So I think even as you're driving, just putting in that deep breathing exercises and then putting in that perspective of look at everything in perspective. Life is actually good, right? And you just go with the flow and try not to hang on to the negative parts of what you have experienced in the day. And I think Hock Lin mentioned about being thankful for what we have. I think that's really, really a very important point, because we don't have to wait for Thanksgiving to be thankful. I think we can be thankful about what we have on a daily basis, right?
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. Paulsec, I know you also tested positive.
Yes.
When you find out that you're tested positive, are you stressed on that moment when you find out?
Well, it was a mix of emotions. In a way, it was like, wow, at long last. In a way, it was also, I was worried because, oh dear, have I passed it on to my wife and my little boy? My little boy that's younger than 2 years old. Have I passed it on to my family members? Because I got it during Chinese New Year. And before that, I would have visited my grandma, my parents, those that I have come into contact with. So my worries were those, right? In a way, I was relieved in the sense that, okay, I'm done. And then after I've recovered, I'll be good, right? I can go around and I can be doing things that I don't have to be so worried after I recovered. But at the same time, I also worry because all the work that I have laid out in front of me have to be backpiled, have to be piling up in the next a week or two. And I've been stressed about, okay, how long will I take to recover? How long do I go from 2 lines to 1 line? Life has this little ways. On day 8, on day 8, actually, I tested negative. So, we can, in protocol 2, we can exit isolation after day 7. I took a bit more precaution because there are young ones and older ones at home. So I said, okay, let's continue testing before when I test negative, then I'll get out of isolation. Day 8, I tested negative. Day 9, I tested positive again.
Wow.
So day 10, right, I tested myself twice to be sure that I have single lines each time, and I got out. So, well, part of the source of stress in life has got to do with the uncertainty. You don't know when you're going to get COVID. You don't know when you recover from COVID. You don't know what's going to happen on a daily basis. But I think it's also the ability or that mindset to just roll along with life in general and be thankful that, hey, you're not in this alone, because we do have friends, we do have families, and families sometimes may not be with you, right? Like for you, Ems, your family is all the way home, thousands of miles away, but actually they are with you in spirit, right? And you know that your boys are supporting you for sure what you're doing here in Singapore, right? So take heart, because I think we can take heart on those points and really hold on to these factors that we know that will keep us afloat.
Yes. Paulsec, I just want to ask you also, any self-care tips to all the audience right now? What is the best for health self-care tips?
Actually, I know you have quite a good audience, so I want to go beyond self-care. Actually, I want to use the chance for everyone to just practice care for others as well. Self-care tips, I've shared some earlier. For me, it is running, it is also deep breathing, it is also having some good food. Of course, good food in moderation. We want the Health Promotion Board guys to be also endorsing what I say. So self-care will vary from person to person. So I can't quite dictate what is good for you, Ems, right? Because you have your own mechanisms to follow. But I think care for others, care for loved ones around us is what I want to advocate in this platform as well. Because we care for the people around us, right? And we, as human beings, we have that capacity to show that love for persons other than yourself. And I think I want to call upon everyone to really be that guardian for the loved ones in our life, right? So if you can just keep an open eye, look out for what's happening around you, look out for the loved ones around you. Are they exhibiting behaviors, or are they saying things that they usually don't quite say? So we look with our eyes and we listen to what they're saying. If something is amiss, most likely something is wrong. All right. Then what do? You want to link that person to help. But before that, it might just be a good check-in, Hi, Ems, how are you? How do you feel today, right? If you find that, hey, Ems, for the past few days, I see you quite listless at work. Usually you're quite humorous, quite jovial, but you haven't cracked a joke in like a few days. Then that check-in might be a good way of just giving us a glimpse into what that person is thinking about, what that person is feeling at a point in time, at a particular frame in time. So I think that check-in is important, because sometimes all we know, all we need is the fact that, hey, somebody really cares about me, right? Sometimes we don't quite look around for solutions, we don't quite look around for answers, but if somebody comes around to us and then just, knowing that we are down, we are, having a rough patch, and then that person gives us a hug, right? I think that's worth so much more than, tens of thousands of solutions that we can lay on that person.
Yes, I can agree more on that. I love it. I love caring for others. It's a really, all the audience out there listening right now is really good, because the feeling of there's a support system, especially like me, that I'm alone. Yes, it's very good point, Paulsec. Is there any particular questions for you to Paulsec, to our guest speaker? Feel free to comment, and he will answer for you. But I just want to ask Paulsec also, any program in your MCCY that you want to, advocate, and related to mental health, or your this managing stress? Is there anything?
I would just say join Team Nila. As I've said at the start, right? I'm a strong supporter of Team Nila.
Yes.
Why Team Nila? Because Team Nila is a great network of wonderful individuals, wonderful sport volunteers. It's a force for good. I think you get to be involved in a whole range of events, a whole range of programs that you would otherwise not have a chance to interact with or a chance to be part of. So join Team Nila, be part of the positive energy, and I think that will bring you great mental as well as psychological benefits as well.
Okay, thank you, Paulsec. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate.
You
never saying no. You just say yes, Ems. I'll support you, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Paulsec.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Imagine, I'm so grateful at the sharing of Paulsec about sharing to others. Okay, I'm excited now. Our third speaker, of course, who would not know, the most active, the most positive, the most energetic and passionate, our leader, the champions of all champions, the head of Team Nila, divisional head, Mr. Aong Ethan Ong. Welcome to my webinar. Thank you so much, Aong. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Ems. Really appreciate all that you are doing for the community and for Team Nila. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's about stress. And you know that you have thousands of volunteers, and one of them. So now, how do you handle a lot of dynamic personality of the volunteers? There's different kinds of personalities, How do you manage the stress of having a lot of volunteers in your head?
Well, you look at you look at my hair, you know that I'm not very good with stress management, right? All the hair drop. Either that or I have a lot of stress. No, the honest truth is, yes, I'm very grateful to have 34,000 volunteers with me, and of course yourself, right, being a very proactive and committed volunteer leaders with us. So you've correctly pointed out, this team that we've got different personality, different persona, in general, different expectations. So it's all about managing expectation. And if you were to ask me, how do I manage our volunteers? I believe this good 4 years, right, I've been using my heart to manage them, not so much my head. You see, our volunteers, they use the most expensive commodity, which is time, to give back to the community and believe in being the positive driving force and believing in inspiring the Singapore spirit through sport. So I always use my heart to speak to my volunteers. And again, I go back to the fundamental, right, which is very much to manage their expectation. So I would always do my very best to put myself in their position and find the best solution, and my very best to resolve the conflicts that they have. And again, if there are any misunderstanding or disagreement between or among the volunteers and even my colleagues, right, I would like to be able to mediate and solve it immediately. So I think that leads to the second question, right? How do you deal with stress, right? Actually, kind of like the next question, right? So like what the Chief Hock Ling jokingly said, right? You either run away or you face it. So more often than not, I realize the best way to get rid of that stress or be in a stressful position is to deal with the problem. But again, it's easier said than done. Sometimes we want to have this little sanctuary or this time for us to hide and to really chill and our own me time, right? And that's what Paul Sek mentioned. You can either do your runs, you listen to good music, you have a good meal. Then after that, you still need to deal with it. If not, it will just be there. Yeah, so I believe the next speaker, our brother from IMH, would be able to advise us better in terms of the techniques and all. But if you were to ask me personally, I like to be able to deal with the challenges or the stress head on and immediately. Yeah. Right, thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so great sharing. I was touched. Just now, I almost cried when you say heart. And it's really, it's really heartwarming to you're sharing. And you've been Team Nila become a family to me. That's why I'm still here, why I'm still positive, because of I believe and I support the organization because of the love and care to the community and to other people. Yes. And Aong,
yes,
any healthcare tips, self-care tips, that you can advocate or you can share with the audience, if you have?
Well, the first one is to have very, very positive friends like you. All right. I think it's important to hang around positive, not COVID positive, I think positive emotionally. It's important to hang around people like yourself, honestly, who are optimistic and cheerful, jovial, because you rub off each other, the energy, the good energy. I'm always reminded that negative energy spreads faster than positive energy. So when you hang around negative people, it just spreads and it spirals downward, and it doesn't help. If you hang around people who are always complaining about life, lamenting certain situation they are in, and always having that victim mindset, I like to hang around. I think one tip would well be one of the tips would well be hanging around like-minded people, positive people who are always seeing positivity or rather possibility than complaining and all. Then the second thing is definitely to do that, right? The second thing could well be to join the interest group or to volunteer, which I believe the first two speakers kept talking about volunteering with Team Nila. I can't tell you how powerful it is. The beautiful thing about giving back to the society and or rather to help people is that you notice how fortunate and how lucky or how blessed you are when you are able to give. And only then it's magical, right? Only then you realize that, hey, actually I got so much more than back then when I start thinking, hey, I'm inadequate, I'm not enough. But when you start giving, you realize that, hey, you have a lot more, right, than what you have. And then you magically start to reach that it's like a nirvana, or that enlightenment state where you start thinking that, oh yeah, I should be grateful, and that actually helps you to be grateful, and that remove that stress, your stressful state. And yeah, I believe that these two are important. And then of course the third one, if I may, is do sports, all right, and go outdoor. Because when you go outdoor and you get reconnected with the environment, the nature, and you do sport, you sweat it out, actually that builds your confidence, and that remove away some of the noises in life, and then you can reorientate yourself all over again.
Aong, how do you deal or get rid of the stress? How do you get rid of it? Or toxic?
Personally,
Yeah. How do you deal it?
Personally, I think the first way to I mean, I'm very lucky. I married a very great wife, right? She gave me some me time. So end of the
Oh.
day, after work, right? I mean, you have all the stress pile up and all the work and the tension. I have my own me time. So that's after my sons their sleep, and they are asleep, and my wife, she will leave me alone to do my own reading, listening to music. I like to listen to music. I like to read. Actually, reading helps me to get rid of stress, surprisingly. I was never I am still not the studious type of person. I'm never studious. I don't like studying, right? But surprisingly, reading helps me to chill, and listening to good music. Yeah, so that me time is very important to me. Yeah.
Any specific book that you're reading right now?
I am reading this book. So happened that it's on my table. It's Think Again. It's by
Oh.
Adam Grant. Yeah, so it helps you to rethink uh situations you are in, and my CEO is very interesting. I take a lot of advice from him. So I'm not only reading one book, so I've got another two books. So this one is on strategy, trying to be smarter, and the other one is on system thinking. Yeah, again, trying to be smarter so that I can help Team Nilam more. His advice is never read just one book. You might be really bored. You can have different type of books, and then you can just hop from books to books. Yeah, and sometimes I like to watch movies as well. I'm not the Netflix guy. I cannot sit in front and like my wife, she can go from dramas to dramas. Wow, cannot. It just drain my eyes and my mind. So I do watch Disney Plus and Netflix once in a while. They are good movies. Yeah. So it's up to individual, to each its own, right? But important is to find that space for you to chill and relax. I think that's
Oh,
essential.
yes. Aong, last message
Yes.
for managing stress to all, even in the Philippines, watching in the Facebook, how we manage stress. Any message?
I just posted on my Instagram
Yes.
earlier this morning. I was walking up. I was in Sport SG office. I can imagine it's in office. I walk up the steps and I saw a rainbow. There's
Wow.
this very small strip of rainbow there. All right. And I realized that in life, right, if I was I was so caught up in thinking of the work that I have, I would have missed the rainbow. Who in the world in the right frame of mind would think that there's a rainbow in Sport SG, right, on the way up?
Yes.
So what I got is, or rather, if there's a message to share with everybody, especially our friends in the Philippines, hello, and thank you for supporting AMS, is really focus on the goodness life has to offer. It's part of a package, right? Sometimes we will kick on there'll be stumbling blocks every now and then. There'll be rocks along the way. It will never be smooth sailing. But if you focus on the good, you believe in celebrate living and the goodness life has to offer, then things will change. Just as we walk up the stairs, you will spot rainbow. You might be on your way to somewhere. Focus on the good stuff.
Wow. Thank you, Aong. Thank you for inspiring
you.
us. Thank you for
Pleasure.
being the great leader of our community, of Team Nila. Thank you so much. And
Pleasure.
yes, thank you for your support. Yay!
Keep up the good work, Ems. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay. From Chief, from Palsec, from Aong, I tell you, I've learn a lot and more sharing. It makes my heart so full and happy hormones. And okay, because of the happy hormones, now we're going to our fourth guest speaker. Yes, we have last speaker who can share about self-care during COVID. And of course, we invited a clinical nurse educator, and he is also a bachelor in nursing. And not only that, he is specialized in addiction in nursing. And not only that, he is also an advanced diploma in mental health. Let's give it up to Mr. Singa.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Emmy. I think I don't have to present any of these self-care, de-stress techniques or tips because all your three speakers have given everything that I have it on my PowerPoint.
Really?
Yeah, they have given great tips. I think that if you apply that in your life or whoever is watching, I think you will be a very, very great de-stressor, and that the self-care tips that was already given. But nevertheless, I will just share some of the experiences, and I will start off with a PowerPoint. Please feel free to put up some questions. I love to answer the questions. So my name is Singa, and I'm from IMH, but this talk is in any way not related to that. It is my own time, lunchtime. I'm giving this talk, which I'm allowed to. So can I have the next slide? Thank you. Now the question that in anywhere that I go, I ask, are you having stress? Everybody said, no, I don't think so. I'm not having stress because I'm a nurse, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. And then I used to ask them, do you take care of yourself? That is a tough question, and sometimes I'm very busy. Okay, then how do you take care of yourself if you are really taking care? Well, I just eat, sleep, and sometimes I drink and maybe smoke, and sometimes I run. Oh, okay. But now the latest thing, which is already very old, evidence-based study shows that self-care is very much diminished in all of us, including me, because we care so much for the community, become like so much for the nation, and so much until we forget to do self-care. When do you know your self-care is not there? Is when you have an increase in stress, which causes the cortisol to go up, which is a harmful chemical in the brain, and it affects all the organs. On the other side, like what the three speakers was telling was great. Exercise is the most important de-stressor. Reason, it is more powerful than the morphine 100 times. Endorphin is produced in your body. It's a natural, wonderful, happy drug. I would advocate, as what they said, go and do exercise, go and connect with the nature. So self-care is nothing other than caring for ourselves. There was a time I went through a bit of burnout because I was caring so much until I have zero energy in myself. And next slide. So if you really want to de-stress, you have to look at yourself, and you must feel kind to yourself, because all of us go through working life. There are emotional impact thrown to you, maybe by the supervisor, maybe by the boss, maybe by the client, maybe by the consumers, maybe by your friends. Now, this emotional impact will create a very bad feeling, and that will create stress, which will go into distress. Then it will go into burnout, and eventually you go into mental health related problem. So some of the things that I like to share, everything is about self during this part of COVID, and you give 80% to the society. Now, the team, these speakers who have spoke are wonderful. They are giving a lot, and they are also managing their stress in an adaptive manner. Now, self-kindness is very important. Be kind to yourself, and self-compassion. Fall in love with yourself. I fall in love with myself until I forgot to get married. And I always tell, when I wake up, I go to the mirror in my toilet and give a kiss on the mirror and say, you are the best person who is keeping me active and alive. So that is very, very important to self-compassion. And mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is honestly part of Buddhism, because I took Buddhism for a study on O level. So Buddha said, be mindlessness. Mindfulness is actually emptying and become mindlessness. That empty will give you eternal bliss or even nirvana. Then the other thing I put in capital word is actually prayers. Those who don't believe, I also respect them. But those who believe, prayers is one of the most important thing in your spiritual realm or spiritual dimension. When there was this disaster happen in one of the Palembang incident, everybody tried to talk to them. They give advice, psychological support. It only resolved when the 8 official spiritual masters went and pray for them. So please pray not only for yourself, but all the living being in the world. It will come back as thousands or millions of blessings. And for free thinkers, please look at higher power. And one of the things that I like to share from one of my guru is, somebody went and asked this guru, I want to be happy. Tell me, how can I be happy? So the master said, okay, it's a very interesting question. Well, for number one, see if you are still alive tomorrow. Because he said, in the world, 1 million people will die a natural death. As long as you wake up, you're not one of the billion. Will give you happiness. Okay, good. Then what is the second one? Oh, second one, make sure you go and see all your relatives, all your family members are well and alive. That is the second bonus, he said. The third one, please appreciate what the higher power is giving you every hour. Say thank you and thank you and thank you. That is one of the best ways we have to do and helps you relax. Next slide. Now here I have actually put, are human being adapting to changes now that we have experienced COVID-19? Yeah, I agree. They are now the new norm of managing COVID time is now old norm. It's an old norm already. So even though isolation and new social rules feels very restrictive, haven't it created some other ways of actually managing your life? We are very, very interestingly smart people. We can go through this. COVID will also pass. That is my strength and faith. Now, it created new routine. So now you work from home, you get to multitask, you had new habits formation. I see everybody is cycling, so Singapore is very active now. And then hobbies, we have a lot of hobbies. In fact, I'm doing nature walk. I also connect to nature, and also go down and maybe look at releasing some of those lives, like frogs and fish, and let them go free and ask them to free us from this situation. And then also the slides can be bigger. Thanks. So it also give us time to remember the moment of time, like entire purpose of life. Now everybody asks, I got no time to spend with my family, I miss my family. But now COVID has actually given you a positive way of looking at your family, even staying and working. You don't need to take MRT, you don't need to take a bus. You wake up, you're in front of the laptop and you do a job. And you're with the family. But unfortunately, being with the family 24 hours has caused some of them, as what one of the speakers said, the nagging part. came in, and then it is like, oh my God, I rather go back to work. So people have these different concepts. So our ancestors, honestly, every 100 years we face this type of situation. Our ancestors are very dedicated, and they are very intelligent to say that they have survived such situation, worst situation, and we will overcome this. Next slide. Thank you. If you work in an office now, you have to work from home. And this is an opportunity that is created for you to make a Milo for yourself, for you to make a quick sandwich for yourself, for you to see your children and give a hug. Isn't that a positive thing? Always look at something positive in every interaction. Now, the other thing I wish to share, one of the things that very much stress you pre-COVID, COVID, and is also going to stress post-COVID is actually expecting these two reasons I gave you in life, how to be unhappy in life. Because we've been telling how to be happy, how to distress. I tell you how to be unhappy. This is the intellectual property of one of the master. One, expect everybody to be happy with you. It will never happen at all, because Lord Jesus, Allah and Krishna and whoever like Michael Jackson was never able to make anybody happy, and never were they expecting happiness. So expecting to make everybody happy doesn't work. Expecting everybody to be happy with you doesn't work. It reminds that one more person in the universe is unhappy or on earth. So next, thank you. This is something maybe you want to read, or the slides can be actually sent to them. I don't mind. These are some of the things that you can do. There's almost 100 you can do. I can add on some more. So this slide, maybe we can post it to them. Can I go to the next one? What are the benefits of doing all those activities? It certainly reduces stress and anxiety, which are product of depression and mental illness that has got distant future. That means it is going to come. Okay, the previous one, sorry. So controlling weight, because this time everybody eat and then need to control your weight and reduce the risk of health condition. So these are the benefits of all those self-care things, and improve sleep. All those, this is what I call physical distancing, and rules that have been kept many of us away from the venues. So what is recommended is staying active, because it is critical for our physical and mental health. Now, one more thing I want to add on is, there's no such thing as physical illness without mental wellness. If mental wellness is affected, then only you go into physical illness. So mental illness is the primary thing, physical illness is the secondary thing. Second thing, another slide please. Now sleep, I'm just going to touch on one or two things. Sleep hygiene is very important. Now the first indication or sign is if your sleep is affected, you already have a psychological and emotional problem. It really causes a lot of things where when you sleep is healthy, weight, reduce tension, decrease stress, and it prepares you for the next day. A lot of people ask, how does death feels like? When you sleep, you totally forget everything and sleep for 10 hours. That is exactly what will happen when we go to Mandai for cremation. How wonderful the Lord and God has created. So you are rehearsing death every day at night. Thank you. Next, please. Now, social connection is everybody know as what the speakers, shared almost every tips that I wanted to give. Now, they have given a very wonderful thing of connecting. Now, you need to network, you need to connect, you need to mix around with a lot of good people and spend time, fall in love with nature, or do a hobby, fishing, running, and then maybe go and make knitting, Any of those things that will help you calm. And one of the most interesting thing is your mind can only concentrate on one thing at any moment. That is the nature of the brain or the mind. Once you concentrate on knitting, you cannot bring in your worries or stress. So any exercise, any form of hobbies, any form of ways of distressing is apply that. You will never feel the stress at that moment, which is already important. Next. Before that, I also like to tell you that our brain, that is a center called amygdala. It is a pleasure center. Now, this pleasure center registers whatever gives you pleasure in life or given pleasure in life. For that reason, you will produce this endorphin, which is one of the best drugs that actually keeps away stress at bay. Okay, now here a lot of people talk about mindfulness. You can see the picture there. And then this mindfulness basically is what? Keep aside some time and keep aside the time away from any living things other than nature and a quiet place, and observe the moment as it is in the present. Now, Buddhism is all about nothing is permanent. Be in the present. The present is in action. The past is in action. The future is in action. I always stay in the current moment. Now I'm giving this talk. I only focus on this. The next, after that, I will focus on anything. So let's not become judgmental. Must be non-judgmental about yourself, about others. Use your senses. There are 5 senses. It's a wonderful senses. Smell a flower, look at a flower, feel the flower. All this is created by who? Lord Jesus, higher power. They have abundance of things for us. They created, and now they're actually teaching us how to live life without traveling. We are still alive for the last 3 days, but I'm really worried and concerned about those people, foreigners, helping Singapore as globally they are not able to go. Now that is one of the most saddest thing in my life at this current moment. But as always, we pray and we do the best in a positive nature. So if your mind wanders during mindfulness, don't judge yourself. It's like a PowerPoint. Problem will come one by one problem when you're mindfulness, when you're sitting for the meditation. Let the PowerPoint flashes pass, and wait for an empty PowerPoint, empty PowerPoint slide. And then your mind is in mindlessness. Meditation is another thing which I am doing. I only share what I do, and it is my experiential learning. I do meditation from 5 minutes, and now I'm doing for 30 minutes. I can be away from the world, totally self-absorbed, and totally breathing slows down. Totally my heart rates go down. Totally my respiration go down. I just love to be there. Now, what is meditation? It's nothing religious. Stillness of mind. Earlier I shared mindlessness, and I already reached the nirvana. If in this meditation, it is called stillness of mind. Once you can still the mind in a very calm nature, nothing will bother you. Okay? Right, good. Next. Now, fun things for well-being is set yourself a goal and a routine and follow the routine. Even I sometimes cannot follow the routine because I'm managing a lot of people in the community who are actually going through depression, suicide, obsessive compulsive disorder, because in Singapore they feel that I'm the only one anybody can recommend, and then I find that I actually go into stress because of that, but I will delegate them to the rightful support. And then treat yourself well. Now I always have this feeling that the soul, there is someone sitting inside and he is the operator. He is operating you. So why are we not recognizing this soul? So soul is self-searching inside. So sometimes I used to be a non-veg, now I'm vegetarian. I will go to any of the restaurant and ask my soul, today is your turn to eat. because you've been helping me throughout my life. What would you like to have? But I personally would like to have maybe a fried rice, but I feel my soul will have said, tell me that, give me a vegetarian burger. And I eat for the soul. I feel so nice about it. And then be in the moment again, be in the present. Nothing is more important. Be every time, bring your mind to the present. It is actually the best way to deal with stress. Now, Americans or some other countries say how to manage stress. But in Eastern countries like India, one of the gurus said, why let the stress come? Why wait for the stress to come and then manage it? Might as well don't have the stress and you don't have to manage it. I will teach you how. And he taught us something. And then keep a journal and travel, virtual travel. I'm telling you that I can do more. In my stress management, I do this muscle relaxation and some de-stressing techniques. And I travel virtually. When I sit around and I meditate, I simply go to India, simply go to Australia. Our mind is very, very, very powerful. We are a powerful machine. We can immediately, instantly go places in virtually. I'm sure Amy would have traveled back to Philippines many times virtually. Everybody does that. And when you ask them, have you seen your family? No. Are you okay with the family? Do you do a WhatsApp call? Yes. Do you tend to feel that you are in Philippines sometime? Oh my God, yes. So that is what we call travel, virtual travel. Okay, next slide. Now, meditation and reflection. Now, reflection every day, every time you just reflect on what you have done and what you can do positively for your community, for the world. Okay, let's do a quick 2 minutes meditation. I will just kind of tell you. Find a quiet place. It must be comfortable. You can either be sitting with your feet or on the floor or laying down on the mat, and place your arms by the side and hands where they are comfortable, just like a corpse yoga, they call it, in a corpse position. But you're still alive, huh? Don't say that. When you're a corpse, you can't do anything, okay? In a corpse position, and then claps and not your choice. Either you can clap your finger or you can relax your finger. That itself will give a lot more peace. And then drop your chin and close your eyes, focus on your breath. Now, one of the best mindfulness meditation or de-stressor, completely can de-stress you, is the overall feeling and meditating on your breath. If you really try later, when you breathe in, you will feel cool air. And when you breathe in, you tell, I'm breathing happiness, I'm breathing peace, I'm breathing calmness, I'm breathing patience, I'm breathing love, I'm breathing compassion. And when you breathe out, I'm breathing out my frustration, I'm breathing out my unhappiness, I'm breathing out my jealousy. Over time, you are what you biofeedback. Okay, you can try this for 2 minutes. After that, extend to, and mindfulness is actually a form of mind traveling. So you actually travel. There's a lot of ways of buying with the beach. You can go to Philippines and go back. I mean, you can just go back, believe that you're standing on the beach, you're seeing a lot of things happening, you're running with your children, you're talking to your husband. Eventually, these things will make you very, very altruistic, feeling very happy. Okay, and meditation is one of the best thing to do. So, but you must have somebody to this thing. A lot of people scared. They say, "Oh, meditation is from India." No, it was created for stillness of mind. And I'm working in a very, very demanding, challenging environment, and I don't feel the stress. I always tell myself, Singa, live in the present. I want to be an instrument under the hands of Lord or Allah or anybody, and serve my ward, my hospital, and serve the community and the nation. And I'm proud of Singapore. we have done the best. Yes, we have done a little bit of teething problem, but I can tell you from my experience, I'm one of them, healthcare frontline. I do swabbing, I do screening, I really teach how to swab. I also give vaccination injection. It is not easy. All our global nurses have suffered, and now I'm going around seeing them and giving them support. Next slide. Next slide. Now, some of those quote I like to just quote is these are from a lot of Martin Rubin. Movement is the freedom of the body, stillness of the mind. So, stillness of the mind, movement is freedom, but of the body, but stillness of the mind is even more important. Next slide. This is stillness is God. Okay, this is Paramahamsa Yogananda. Next slide. To meditate with mindful breathing is to bring body, mind back, and not only mind, the soul to the present so that you are not missing your appointment with life. Be still and know that I am. In Christianity, I am God. Go on, next.
Yay!
Finish.
Yes, Mr. Singa, I like it. I like your sharing, especially meditation, especially virtual traveling. I didn't know
Yes.
that I can do that also. I might as well do that, but yeah. So I'm thankful for your sharing. Knowing that, I've never seen you personally, then you agreed to be my speaker also, and I'm so grateful. Four of my
Yes.
speakers was able to share. I learned a
Yes.
lot. I learned a lot. Can you agree that with the sharing of the speakers, I may apply it and more, lessen my stress and how to manage my stress also. By the way,
Yes.
I just want to welcome. Just now, I saw our division head manager. My boss
Mm-hmm.
is there, Mr. Ken Chung, but yeah, but now he's just left. But yeah, want to say hi to BMEC, to all my colleagues, to all the staff, and to all the audience from Facebook, from LinkedIn, and YouTube. I've seen some of the comments in Facebook, but I cannot read it. There's 16 messages that maybe they want to ask questions, but I cannot see. I only can see Mr. You see the okay, from Mr. Engwat Cho is stay positive and active. Move on even when you are down like dark in the sky, but tomorrow will shine again. So be happy and good luck. Whatever matters, there is a reason behind. Just be patient and stay faith, encourage to fight on. Determination is the key to success. Thank you, Engwat, for your message. From Jana Rosario Pasqua, talk to the family and friends, do exercise, and listen to worship songs. It helps me when I feel stress. Thank you, Jenna, for sharing. Gloria Gonzalez, positive, positive. Oh, Jimmy Gabriel, a great sharing. Okay, okay. Sorry. Okay, LinkedIn. LinkedIn from Lim Yong Justin. Agree with you, sir. Calvin, that's good. Just one enough worried about that sleep on tonight. And Jimmy Gabriel, a great sharing. Thank you so much from LinkedIn. Yes. So thank you. Yeah. I got 3 platforms. I don't know, a mix, but I'm thankful. There are a lot of sharing from LinkedIn, from Facebook, and from YouTube. So thank you so much. There you are. Can I bring my boss, Mr. Ken Cheng, to say hi? Your mic is off, it's muted. Can you just say hi? And thank you for
Right.
joining. Yes,
Thank
that
you,
is
thank you,
fine.
Mr. Singa. Appreciate it for
Yeah,
sharing.
welcome.
Now my mind is mindlessness.
Yes, that is the perfect thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, due to our daily routine, sometimes it's quite difficult to maintain an empty mind, isn't it?
No, it's very easy. I pray to my higher power to remove, and I should forget yesterday. So it's like a computer. All the messages, all those things that you do, some files you delete. You keep on deleting. So in the mind, don't continue to have anything other than what you want to do for 24 hours. So what is going to happen is that I keep deleting. I have more space to bring in new things. So it is like a computer. You just remember you are a computer. When you shut down, everything shut down. And sometimes people say, I am not stressed and I sleep well. It is you are driving a car, but the car you stop, but the engine is running. So the mind is not sleeping. The soul is still awake because your mind is restless. And of course, this is a practice that I always advocate to everybody and seems to work, because what is the point of carrying something that you cannot relieve? So you just tell yourself, okay, today I'm going to do 5 things. I will do, the one priority is to make sure that I finish these 5. Second, to make sure I attend to my child. Third, I have to go for my appointment.
Yes.
So once you finish that priority, then go to the next and go to the next. And I see you guys are wonderful. I really learned from you guys. It is wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Singha. Maybe looking forward to maybe next webinar. I don't know, but thank you so much for joining. Thank you to my boss, Ken, for BMEG. Thank you so much for joining. This would be the end of the webinar. Thank you all. Thank you, Calvin, for helping, assisting me, BTS behind the scene. Thank you, Calvin. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I just want to have a quick note. If there is one important thing, important person in your life today, it is you yourself who is the most important. So you better take care of yourself and love yourself. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.